All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of General Geekery. With me, as always, is JD. Maybe this side.
Hello.
Just a quick reminder, if you're going to participate in the General Geekery Viewer Invitational Customizing Challenge, please get and want to be on the show, please get in touch with either JD or I through Facebook to give us contact information so we can get you on the show. If you do not want to be on the show but do want to participate, get in touch with me, send me pictures of your custom when you get it done, and we'll make sure that you're included. Now that we've got that disclaimer out of the way, you've seen it, you want it, and if you haven't, you will. And Ben Conway is here to talk about it. The Roboskull Mark II.
Love this thing
thank you
so
for being
much.
on the show.
Yeah.
Hey
thanks.
guys, thank you for having me. So I appreciate the invitation. It's fun to meet up with you guys.
Absolutely, really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you coming on, making time for us. Know you're a busy guy, so I think one of the first things I want to kind of ask is, or to get out there for, because a lot of people don't know about Action Force. So tell us about the original Roboskull.
Sure. So the original Palatoy Roboskull was released in 1984, and it was designed by Bob Breakin, who was working at Palatoy back then. And Bob actually designed a lot of the Action Force toys for the UK market. And it got another release. It had the original Red Shadows release. It was released a second time in the following year with a Cobra Deco, and then never to be seen again. So it's something that that I actually never saw until probably like I think it was 2013, maybe 2014. I saw it online for the first time, and it really left a mark on me when I saw it.
It's impressive. I've seen one in person when I was in France. One of our viewers and our good friend Julian lives in France, and it was there on my way to Africa, and he was taking me around, and we went to a comic book store, saw the original, and a good friend of ours, Marcus Aiken, customizer, does some amazing customs with the Roboskull. So I'm a little familiar, but I don't think I've seen a lot of people go, "What is this? What is that?" So tell us about the Mark II then.
Yeah, so the Mark II is something that really just started with an idea that I wanted to do a toy that was a tribute to all these great toys that came out in the 80s in the UK that most of us here in the US actually had never had an opportunity to see or play with when we were kids, but that I think has a really, a number of them have really cool, special, kind of unique designs and play value, and are just really cool. So it came down to my obsession with the Roboskull. I just really, I was really obsessed with it since I saw it. I went to my first JoeCon right after I saw it. I bought one while I was at JoeCon. I bought another one and had it chromed because I thought it'd be cool. And then just kept going, just couldn't stop thinking about Roboskull. So that's where so for me, it was like, how do I take this kind of a bit of an obsession further? I look around at how many, there's so many amazing toy manufacturers right now and so many great products being released. But this is one of those things that I just felt was never going to happen unless maybe I did it myself. So I started.
You're right about that.
And I think people want it because the Kickstarter funded in 100 minutes.
Yeah, it funded really quickly. I was pretty excited and shocked to see how
I
fast
can imagine
it went up. Yeah.
Well, because when I saw the first funding goal, the original was 78,000. I'm like, well, that shouldn't be too hard. I mean, You should be able to get that no problem. Get a couple stretch goals, and when I backed it, it was a little more than 25% backed, and when I looked again, like 20 minutes later, I'm like, wow, that's almost 75% back. What the hell?
That's when I backed
like,
it.
I guess
I was on duty, so I backed it at about 3/4 of the way full, and then when JD texted me, he says it's funded.
Awesome. Well, hey,
Like,
thank you both for getting in and getting in early. So
Oh,
you guys are
absolutely.
both, were both part of that, that rocket to
well,
funding that happened
firstly, there was
in the
no
first.
question that I wasn't going to support it, but
Absolutely.
I thought I got in on it quick because usually with Kickstarters, I'll wait a little bit, just to see what it does. But
Yeah.
like Marauder, Vietnam, and the Roboskull, there was no waiting. That was pretty much as soon as I could get to a computer, or as soon as I got online and I saw it. But when I saw that it had funded that fast, and then the first stretch goal got unlocked, like, I don't know what, 10 minutes after that. I'm like, what is happening
Yeah.
here? I'm like, this is epic.
Yeah, no, it blew me away. It funded faster than the Marauder Kickstarter. I waited on the Marauder Kickstarter until the 2 seals unlocked because those were the figures I wanted. But this, I'm like, I don't care what the stretch goals are. I want one, and that's what I want. So,
Well, I
Awesome,
started getting excited about it because a couple days before the Kickstarter launched, Marauder teased art for a new Red Wolf figure, and I'm like, ooh,
yeah.
the Red Shadows are kind of one of those things where I don't own any of them, but I'm fascinated by them.
That makes
The
sense to
Red
me.
Shadows and
Yeah.
Zed Force absolutely fascinate me, and like the guys like Red Jackal, Red Wolf, Red Laser, and I'm like, man, I don't. These are really cool, but when I saw that Red Wolf was being teased by Marauder, I'm like, what is happening here? I
Right?
never imagined owning a Red Wolf, but especially not a modern one and one made by Marauder. This is crazy. So, and then your Kickstarter started, and I'm like, oh, let's see what happens here.
I have to say, I think the fact that Marauders in on this has contributed to how quickly that Kickstarter funded, because Marauder has delivered all of their Kickstarters. They've never had any issues. People see Marauder's name, they're like, sold, man.
Well,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
if
We
I'm
are
not
really,
mistaken, isn't this the first time Marauder has teamed up with another manufacturer to bring a project to reality?
yes, it is the first time they've done that. And
Okay.
I'm really fortunate that Marauder was willing to, to partner and collaborate with us to get this thing going. And I totally agree with you guys that the fact that we had the Marauder brand tied to this endeavor was huge, because
So,
otherwise we're just another, new company that just shows up and says, hey, we want to make toys too, like everybody does these days, right? So
yeah. No, I think
so
that's
yeah, so that was a big deal that we were able to do
definitely.
that, and it also was really a really big deal because we had focused, or I had focused on making we started off really focused on the vehicle, and then when we realized, I from the beginning I wanted to make it just totally awesome, the best product I could possibly make, but you come to the realization it's like, if it's every great vehicle should have a pilot, right? So
Yes.
then we start looking at pilots, and that's a whole nother project. So to be able to partner and collaborate with Marauder really put us further ahead of the game, from the engineering standpoint, from the construction of the figure standpoint, and then of course also just from a trust marketing, coming onto the scene. So it was huge on a number of different levels.
And I gotta say, I think probably the smartest thing you did, because I see the community so divisive right now, and one of those big dividing points is scale. And you made this compatible with 4 and 6-inch figures, and I think that's absolutely fucking brilliant.
And the tiny Diaclone figures that are distributed from Japan, because Diaclone was one of the predecessors of Transformers, early Transformers, and what is it? Diaclone Reloaded is the toy line.
Diaclone Reboot, yeah.
Reboot, yeah.
Reboot.
And like, they're tiny, but they're super detailed and super intricate. And you made this thing compatible with them. I'm like, how the engineering required to make this thing compatible with 3 wildly different scales? I'm impressed.
Yeah, no, it's
Thanks,
fantastic.
man. I appreciate that.
I think that is another one of those things that people are like, you know what, I've left the 4-inch behind. I'm a 6-inch guy now. Oh, hey, this will take 6 inches figures. Yep, I'll take one. Or one of the guys like me that's like 6 inches cool, but I am old school. I want my 4-inch stuff. Oh, it takes 4-inch too. Yeah, okay. Or the like JD, who is, I love everything.
I will buy whatever I want,
in.
whatever scale. I don't care if I like it, I'll buy it. And so, I mean, I got into classified early on. I've supported every iteration of Joe since, well, okay, I never got into Sergeant Savage. Okay, I even bought Extreme stuff in 1995. Okay, Sigma 6, the new Sculpt era, all of that. I was in on all of it. So I have always supported G.I. Joe on whatever scale. But I don't, Star Wars, same thing, on a much more limited basis. But the fact that this toy is compatible with all of them, and my initial thought when I was reading the stretch goals was like a 6-inch for, like I read that it was 6-inch compatible, and I'm like, how is that? Like, I was having trouble imagining it.
Sure.
That came together in my head when I saw shortly after the Kickstarter launched, you were at the convention someplace, and there was a photograph of you holding the thing, and then there was a photograph of the Roboskull Mark II sitting on the deck of a flag, I think, next to like a G.I. Joe tomahawk. And I'm like, oh, that's how it's that's how it's in scale with both the 4-inch and the 6-inch. Oh my God, it's massive. I had never questioned the scale of the tomahawk until I saw those pictures. I'm like, oh wow, the tomahawk is really a piddly thing, isn't it? This Roboskull is epic.
Yeah, that photograph it was an interesting photograph. I saw the photo. I was like, that tomahawk does not look real big anymore.
I mean, the tomahawk is a cool helicopter, but I'm like, wow,
it's an awesome helicopter.
Underwhelmed before it, but wow. So what? Okay. Obviously, the Roboskull is a cool, interesting foreign release thing with all kinds of things. You'd never see a toy like that. Like, that is one of the most visionary, one of the most interesting type of toy designs I've seen in this scale. Like, at the time that they came out in the early to mid 80s, it was unlike anything that had come out before. And it's still unlike anything that's come out before. And I love that you took everything about that design that worked and you amped it up.
Yeah.
Like you did. It's true to the spirit of the original. It's got that little bit of TIE Fighter vibe that Bob Brecken mentioned on the Full Force. But you made it
the way I would describe it. So just to, the way, because I'm a collector too. And JD, I collect vintage. I have, I've got Sigma 6, I've got 4-inch modern, I've got I love G.I. Joe Classified. I think it's an amazing toy line. So, and so the way I would, this is over 2 years ago, the way that I was thinking about it was, I was like, I want a Pursuit of Cobra style up,
Oh, you just said the magic words for Brian.
Yes, that's my favorite line of G.I. Joe
since Real American Hero. G.I. Joe.
Yes, I love Pursuit of Cobra. Favorite line.
I love Pursuit of Cobra too. And I think what was great about it is they modernized all the things that we love. They modernized it a great way. They respected the old figures and the old characters. But it was so badass that John Warden was able to introduce even new characters that we all embraced, like Shadow Tracker and Jungle Viper, and there's just so much cool coming out of Pursuit of Cobra.
Yes, absolutely.
Just a few weeks ago, I got a text from Brian that said, "Man, why the fuck couldn't they have kept Pursuit of Cobra going?" I'm like, man, all these years later, and he's still mourning the loss of Pursuit of Cobra.
Yeah,
and I never even thought about it, but you're right. That Roboskull Mark II, it really does have those Pursuit of Cobra vibes, because
absolutely.
The Pursuit of Cobra his tank, I'm a nerd for his tanks. I've got just about every version of it released. But the initial Pursuit of Cobra version, that they took everything about the his tank that was cool and they amped it way up. And I never made the connection, but you're right. You did the same thing with the Roboskull. And oh my God, I'm even more excited about this vehicle than I was.
So yeah, not just the vehicle, but the stretch goals. Ben, go down the stretch goals for us from the beginning to what's unlocked currently.
Oh, I hope I can. I don't know if I can rattle them all off now in order and remember. Stretch goal 1 was the Breath of Death that unlocked immediately, right? So when we did our post that we had funded, I actually had to do a post that said it funded, and we got the first unlock because I wasn't fast enough to get to get everything.
What a problem to have.
Yeah, and then gosh, I can name them off. I don't know if I'll get them in the right order, but we did a bunch of cool cool enhancements to freebies that are included with the Roboskull, with every Roboskull. So that's going to get you. We had the 3 Skeletron come with every Roboskull.
Nice.
We've got the glow in the dark eyes and the glow in the dark decal sheet that's coming.
Oh yeah, that's really creepy. I like it.
And then we unlocked blast effects for the wing cannons, which you guys may have noticed I haven't actually even shown what those look like yet. So it was happening so fast that we were kind of like backtracking and backing up on old things.
Finished designing those.
Yeah, Broder had the same problem. He was telling us on the show that stuff got unlocked so quickly that he had to go back to Troy McKee and say, hey, I need the designs for these. I said 2 weeks, but I need it tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like the conversation that I had with Troy McKee as things were being unlocked on some of this stuff. So and one of them was we unlocked the gear upgrade really early for the 4-inch figures, and then we had to swing back through and tell you guys what it was, and we were like, oh yeah, finally here's the drawing, guys, here it is, and we're gonna do jetpacks and claws. You've got blades, jetpacks, and guns with your wolf troopers, which I think is super awesome. Like just fun stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because Marauder, when we had him on, after we stopped recording, he was able to share some information about some of the stretch goals coming up that he couldn't say on the show because they weren't ready yet. But I remember when I read the post that, sorry everybody, this Kickstarter has been so successful, we have to push it back like 6 months before they're going to be ready. And he said the same thing when he was on the show. He's like, we weren't done designing some of the stretch goals. We hadn't even decided on some of before they. So the fact that some of the stretch goals, they're unlocked, but you don't have pictures yet because you're not quite done. You weren't. I'm like, wow, that is crazy. Like I can't wait to see what else is in store.
And I think we have caught up on a lot of this stuff. Fortunately, I think the blast effects are the things that we haven't. I think that's the only thing we haven't even shown like a preview of what it's going to look like. But they're going to be super cool. That's the thing. Like we had some models of some blast effects, and I was like, I don't want to show those. I think we can do something even cooler. So
okay, well now I'm just really curious what you've got up your sleeve because this sounds. It sounds interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where even though we're blew past the goal, I still take an incredible amount of personal pride in making sure that every piece of what we're doing here is as badass as possible, right? So,
it would be weird if you didn't.
It's got armor that's going to come with it too.
Yeah. So then we unlock the Robo Knight heavy metal armor.
Okay, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it was intentional or unintentional. When I saw the drawings of the armored knight look, and I'm like, that looks like Jedi Master Plo Koon. It's got the 2 little needle things underneath. It's got the face shield. It's got the eye covers. I'm like,
okay,
it looks like Plo Koon. I'm like, I wonder if I'm the only one, or am I seeing things? Then I pulled out my Plo Koon figure. I'm like, no. I'm not.
That's funny. I'm gonna have to check that out because
I was wondering if it was coincidental or if it was like subconsciously, even like unintentionally. kind of a, because it's so striking. It's such an interesting look that I'm like, huh, I wonder, because I'm like, I can't unsee it once I convince myself that that's so. I didn't know.
That's really interesting. I have not heard the Plo Koon reference on this. Yeah, so
I couldn't place it, but now that he said that, that's
yeah. So this is the Robo Knight armor is something that that actually is one of the few things I had nothing to do with at all.
Oh, really?
So,
Really?
Yeah. So my partner at Skeletron here, Marco Byrne, he came up with this idea to cover, to do a cool like robot mask when we were during the development process of the Roboskull. And he really wanted this, to be like a thing you could buy to add.
I wonder if there's a chance he's a big Plo Koon fan.
Yeah, he's a huge Star Wars fan. So he's gonna.
It might have been on like kind of one of those subconscious things, but I looked at it. I'm like, huh, wow. I want my Roboskull to look like Plo Koon. So it's
so I, when we were developing it, I was like, this is awesome. This is super cool, this mask. But I was like, the whole point is it's a skull face. So I don't know how much traction we'll get with, with the Roboskull. And of course, I'm just thinking at the time, like, we're gonna have a hard time selling just a minimum amount to fund this thing. Right. So I'm like, I love this idea.
You're playing it
think
safe.
It might be a little too niche, and we probably won't get enough backers to do it. And so as we blew through our first 6 stretch goals, Mark said to me, he goes, do you remember the deal we made about the robot face? And I said, no, what are you talking about? He said, I said, if we get to $200,000, he's asking me, if we got to 200,000 in funding, if we could release the Robo Knight, armor. And I was apparently at the time I was like, yeah, sure, Mark, you can have that. No sweat.
With no expectation that was going to become a reality.
Yeah, because we really, I was trying to be realistic about what we were doing, and I genuinely thought, like, if we really put on a strong campaign, we could get to the 200 maybe at the end of the 30-day campaign. And that's what we were prepared for, which is why we were really scrambling when we went through it in 21 hours. So so I'm like, yep, Mark, okay, cool, you're on deck. We got to get this thing, polished up, because we had a lot of bag of tricks and things that we had developed, but they weren't polished up and ready, right? They were ideas, they were kind of half developed things that we'd been playing with over the last 2+ years. So that one we actually Mark took his, he had 3D sculpted it, and then he actually gave it over to Dave Proctor really quick. And Dave, God bless him, because he's so busy with everything he's
Dave's
doing
involved
right now.
in this too. Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
awesome.
So Dave took the file and just kind of gave it his little. I mean, he's a magic man. Just kind of he did it.
Yeah, he is.
He's amazing. And so he took the file and did his thing, and he gave it back, and then we posted the pictures of it. And that's what happened. So
nice.
Sweet.
Nice.
So
I really liked your Halloween post, by the way, where you've got the jaw open on the thing and it's smiling in that Halloween sort. I'm like, wow, that's really, I love it. Like somebody turned the Roboskull upside down and made it look. I'm like, okay, I can really appreciate the various ways that this thing can creep me out. I like it. So,
and I'm glad you like that, JD. That was kind of, we thought it looked like a bat when we had it like folded in.
It did.
Like
I wouldn't have thought of it, but it did. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So that's why I hung them upside down, because we were talking about how it looked like a bat when it's all folded up like that.
It's got many ways to scare the shit out of opponents.
It really does. It's fun because it really does look awesome from like every angle too. When you're playing with this thing, it's she's good from the back, from the front, underneath, everything. It looks awesome, and that's, I think, a real testament to Alex Wu, who we worked with on concept developing, that he was giving us 2-dimensional drawings, just flat drawings of like, different flat views. And then when we took those views and put them together, it was like clear that he had a very good idea in his head of what it looked like in 3D.
Awesome.
Before he was putting it on, before he was drawing it up in 2D for us, because it all came together just beautifully.
And it's like you were saying, it's what is the vehicle without a driver? So there's going to be 2 4-inch drivers, an O-ring driver, and a 6-inch driver. Is that correct?
Well, we actually, in order to get, I really wanted to make sure if we unlocked, if we were able to get a 6-inch pilot, that we could get both of the 6-inch pilots released, which is why we did it as a character kit, a pilot character kit that unlocked. And so what you get is you get the 6-inch helmet, head sculpt underneath, and then the secondary piece for Blood Wolf pilot, and then that also comes with those 3 pieces for the Weasel pilot. So that was an unlock we did all together, and then you can take that, and if you would rather have one of those guys than a wolf 6-inch wolf trooper, you just swap it out on your trooper. So
gotcha.
That's how we handled that, and that unlocked, and so I was really happy that we were able to unlock that, and that was that was a few stretch goals behind us already, though, because
so Bob Brecken is the head sculpt for Red Wolf or Blood Wolf, right? So
that's right. Yes. We announced that. Yeah.
Who's the head sculpt of the Blood Weasel?
So the Weasel head sculpt is the likeness of Skeletron, my Skeletron partner, Mark O'Byrne.
Nice. Okay. I was just curious because I saw the Bob Brecken and I didn't realize that the other thing had already been shown. Then I'm like, interesting. I missed a post.
And cool. A few people it's a really good sculpt and likeness.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Because people that have seen Mark doing other things, and he's done several interviews on his own and with me as we've been promoting the Roboskull. So it's a really good likeness of him, kind of as the cocky ace pilot. And for him, it was it's actually it's a really, I think it's a cool story. So when he was a kid, ever since he was a kid, the Wild Weasel pilot of the Rattlers, been his guy. So he had when he was a kid, his brother got Sky Striker and Ace. He got the Rattler and Wild Weasel. So Wild Weasel's been that's his favorite figure since he was a kid.
Okay, so, I like this story. Okay.
Yeah. So then it's just it's crazy that back in the day that they happened to pack in the Cobra version, the Cobra version of the Roboskull, that they took those, the overproduction of the Wild Weasel figure and packed those in with the Roboskull. So it's just a crazy coincidence that same figure piloted the Palatoy Roboskull in the UK.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and
it's such a niche, like uber geeky point of trivia, and I'm here for it. I love that stuff.
Yeah, so I, given that, and given how much work Mark's put into the project, I mean, he actually learned to sculpt in ZBrush and got amazing at it in the course of
that's one of the things I wish I knew how to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredibly, ZBrush is an incredibly powerful tool, and Mark, damn him, can just soak it up like a sponge. Like, you read stuff and he just like whoop, whoop, and he can just pick it up. So he's gotten really adept at it, and actually, so given that history, we were figuring out what we we're going to do for the head sculpts. I said to Mark, I said, hey, what would you think if we use you for the head sculpt for a Weasel?
That's cool.
And he was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool, man, thanks. And he was all like playing it cool. And then, like, I think 9 hours later, he's like, hey Ben, I sculpted my head, here you go, what do you think? So he was pretty good.
Yeah, a little downplay there, huh? But the excitement is sure there. And
so that's super fun, and obviously, Bob's really excited too to be our Blood Wolf pilot, which is really just,
that's got to be weird for him. Like, he's looking at this thing, like, he was in full support, because you said in that interview that you went to him like early on to ask for his input, and like, he's keeping up with the Kickstarter. He's seen that it funded, and we got the congratulations from him. But it's got to be weird for him to think that this vehicle that he got paid to design 40 years ago, the legacy lives on. Somebody's actually taken it. They've run with it. They've expanded on it. Like this is permanent. Like he's like a permanent part of like G.I. Joe pop culture forever now. That's gotta be weird.
Absolutely. And we've got a few questions from some of our viewers actually too. So the SE with the yellow markings, that is a Kickstarter exclusive.
Correct. It's a Kickstarter crowdfund exclusive. Yes. So it'll only be available in the Kickstarter, and then as part of the backer kit that after as soon as the Kickstarter closes, and then after that, it will never be available again.
Okay, I think there was some confusion on some of that with one of the guys that I was talking to in one of the groups. Like I mentioned, Marcus Aiken is a huge fan of this, and he started a Roboskull owners group on Facebook.
Sure, yeah.
And I posted that we were going to be interviewing you, and if you got questions, so I think that was one of the ones that came up, or it might have been a different group. I don't even know. Keeping track of groups is impossible anymore. So
I didn't know we were taking questions for Ben. So hey, cool.
Yeah, no, I posted something on my customizing page when we had planned to have him on at the beginning of this, and then Jimbo asked a bunch of questions, which it would be
weird if he hadn't asked a bunch of questions.
Yeah. So Jimbo wants to know if the wings are detachable.
So the wings will come off. Each main wing will pop off of the side of the Roboskull. So, and that's likely how it's going to ship. So the wings will be your center skull, and then each wing will ship as a separate piece in the box.
Okay.
So that's our current manufacturing plan. Yep.
That's probably a good idea just for shipping purposes.
Yeah, and they snap right on. That's how I actually received our prototype engineering model. Came to me from Hong Kong, and so I got the box and unpacked it and snapped the wings on, and despite being told that it's a very fragile prototype and that I shouldn't play with it,
you played with it anyway.
I cycle tested this thing a lot, and it is much more durable than they told me it was going to be. For me. It's good. It's fun.
Let's see here. What else did he want to know? The wings are detachable. Yes. Any chance of a female figure for the pilot at some point?
Yeah, I would love to do a female. We talked a lot about having a female figure, actually. So we don't expect a female figure to happen in this Kickstarter, unfortunately. But we've got a high degree of interest in doing a very high.
You've got an awful lot to juggle. Let's not add more to the pile.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite customs to do. I've been doing a whole line of the female Cobra specialty Vipers. So
nice. Yeah. So
he made a female Mega Viper that I jokingly challenged him to do. So it would be interesting to see a female like Blood Wolf eventually or whatever. But it's you've got a lot to juggle with this Kickstarter. Yeah, definitely
it's a lot of these decisions have, things happened and we've moved around and switched ideas and moved things around as the project developed, even prior to launch in this case. So the whole team was really interested in doing a female pilot, and then or co-pilot, so you could have like a male and a female in there for 4-inch. That we were like, that would be a super rad idea.
Like that issue where Wild Weasel and the Baroness are flying in combat against Ace and Lady J.
We really wanted to do that. And what happened is that during the development process, we went from thinking we were going to use Marauder's existing tooling for the figure itself, which would have made it easy for us to do a male and a female figure. And as we developed the project further, I really wanted just to have all new tooling to get that really, I'll say again, Pursuit of Cobra-esque vibe for the pilot. to go with the Roboskull. And we did mock-ups, and John was awesome at Marauder because we had access to all of his tooling to do, to do the pilot, and that was the original plan. But at the end of the day, I was like, let's tool an all new figure instead.
Nice.
So that's what we're doing. And then that kind of shifted the direction of doing that, of doing another female pilot all new tooled at the same time. So that was kind of how that thought process developed and where we ended up. But that hasn't changed the fact that we want to do that. So I would say that there's a high probability in the future that you'll see a female figure. You will see female figures from Skeletron.
And that, I think that has kind of been the general question from a bunch of people that I've that have asked me is, it's not enough that this is coming out and that's not going to be out for a while. They already want to know what's next.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that they want to know what's next. And I want to do, we're all really excited. We want to do a lot of really great things. And at the same time, right now, we have to stay laser focused on fulfilling a Kickstarter. Absolutely. So you're not going to see us, launching, hey, it's us. We're back 3 months from now, launching another Kickstarter for some new stuff. We want to, we need to stay really focused. There's a tremendous amount of work that's going to happen after the Kickstarter ends on our end, right? So this is just, just getting to Saturday night and ending our Kickstarter. Then we got to roll up our sleeves again and get right down to work to make sure that we're producing everything and everything's the quality that we expect, because we're going to make sure that happens. And we've made a lot more work for ourselves, and you guys and all the Roboskullers have made a lot more work for us. Yeah, so that's awesome. So we've got a lot more. We had a really we put a lot of engineering time to make sure that the Roboskull Mark II was really ready for prime time when we showed it. And so now we've got that, which is really the heart of the project. But we've built a lot of really cool stuff around it now with the success of the Kickstarter that we've seen. So there's a lot yet now that we have to engineer to go with that. So it'll be a lot of work, but we're up to the challenge, and it's gonna be a ton of fun. One of
the things that I've seen a custom of somebody, actually Marcus made this custom. He'd taken the treads off of Pursuit of Cobra, his tank, and put them on a Roboskull. And I believe Jimbo asked if that was something that you guys had considered if you were going to make tank tracks for this thing.
Well, I mean, I'd be lying. The short answer is like, no, we're not doing that at this time, right? So I don't want to get people overly excited or misunderstand what I'm saying here. So no, we do not have specific plans to offer treads at this time or with this Kickstarter. Did we think about maybe doing that? Did we talk about doing that?
Does he want to do that? Yes.
The answer is yes. Yeah. I mean, we developed this thing for, like I said, over 2 years. So we thought of we threw, there's a lot of great ideas that people are throwing at us. And we've pretty much thought of all of them because we went through everything, and we really wanted to be thorough because we know we're fan. I'm a fan, and I know how my friends are. Right. They ask a lot of difficult questions and have points of view, and I wanted to really do that. I'm like, I'm ready for everything. We've looked at every possibility. This is why we're doing it. We really thought deeply about it, and what's been nice is I feel like the community sees that, right? That we have
absolutely
about what we're doing.
I can't do vehicle customs. I can't do them. I can't finish them. I can't, but I'm waiting for somebody to take a Roboskull Mark II and make a Dreadnought version of it. I can't wait. Somebody's going to do that at some point. And nice. I'll be curious what that looks like.
I really want to see a lot. I want to see tons of Roboskull customs. That's the other thing we play.
Mine's going to have a female pilot. I can guarantee you. Just the amount of female customs, that's one of my favorite customs to do.
Awesome. So that's super cool. Yeah, and I want to see those paint jobs too, like crazy paint jobs. And we had people doing it's like the Skeletor paint job on the Roboskull. Nice. Just lots of there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with it.
Absolutely. Now the customizing potential there is phenomenal. So one of the other questions I was asked was, is there going to be a Skeletron figure at some point?
Well,
it's
I
part
sure.
of the stretch goals.
Yeah,
In fact, I wanted to
certainly
ask
hope
about
so.
that because that's pretty epic. There's no picture of it, but it's pretty epic that somebody, Marauder, is working on an all-new tooling for all-new Skeletron. I'm like, this is going to be crazy. I can't wait to see what the hell they're going to come up with for that.
Well, I think you just announced that recently. I got asked that question weeks ago. So,
Sure. So yeah, so the answer to that question was obviously, yeah, we're doing that. And if you guys haven't seen, we made a post last night and it directed people to go to hordar.com. And if you go to that Hordar site, that's a kind of a cool new
Is that the site that Chris McLeod was working on?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
I haven't been there. I saw him make a post about it the other day. I didn't realize what he was on about, but
yeah, so we actually made a post on Instagram and Facebook last night. And if you go to Hordar, we actually have a hot link on our Facebook to get you right to it. You can see the concept art for our yet to be released Skeletron.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Excellent, folks.
So check that out.
So you were in cahoots with a lot of people for this project. I'm impressed.
Yeah, no, definitely. This is definitely not something fly by night.
No, well, it is. It's just a flying skull by night.
The collaboration part of it's something that's super that I'm really loving. I love this community. I love the G.I. Joe community. And so anytime we've had opportunities to to partner or to collaborate with other people in the hobby, I just think it's all upside. And a lot of these guys are my friends that I've met over the last less than a decade now, but it's friendships built up over the years. And Chris is a really good friend of mine.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I there's one thing I have to ask about as a huge nerd over Kevin Smith and the View Askew universe. How trippy was it that Brian O'Halloran and Jason Mewes have held the Roboskull Mark II and done promos for it? That video that Jason Mewes did holding the Roboskull, I'm just like, I would have fainted. I would have I'm like, this is epic. This is crazy. You've got Kevin Smith's people holding the prototype of this Kickstarter toy that you're making. How epic is that?
It was crazy, JD. It was like, I was with Mark at our local show. So we live in Minnesota, and there's a local show here in Minnesota in our city, or little city of Rochester, Minnesota, called Nerdin' Out Con, which is put on by, we have a great brick and mortar toy store. Shout out to Brad at Nerdin' Out, and he puts on this show every year. And so he loves to bring in celebrity guests. He's got wrestlers coming in. 2 years ago, I met Jake the Snake Roberts, but he's got
nice.
different guys coming in all the time. And so Mark was like, we got to get over there and talk to these guys and show them the Roboskull. And so it was at the end of the show, we went over there, and they're just super cool guys. And we're like, hey, what do you think of this? And it just happened so fast too, because Jason was like, oh, this is really cool. Do you mind if I take it in the back? I'll do a little thing with it, and then I'll bring it right back to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Mark gave him his phone. And so and then Jason just walks away and disappears with our, kind of our baby. Right. And we're just like,
giving your kid at that point.
Yeah. And then he comes back just a couple minutes later, and he's like, hey man, check this out. Let me know what you think. Go watch it. And let me know if you want me to do anything else. And Mark and I, scurry around the corner and watch it on his phone. And we're just like, oh my God, this guy's awesome.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. And we're like, hey, this is a, commercial product. We talked it all out. He's like, go for it, man. This is cool. I love it. Cool. It's awesome. So nice. What a great guy.
That's crazy.
And Brian was a super nice guy too. And
he's not Dante Hicks. He might have played that character many times, but he's not him. I've seen him in a lot of interviews. I'm like, yeah, he was definitely acting. He's a much more upbeat, happy guy than Dante is. So I was curious how he reacted to it.
They were having fun. I mean, that was the thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those guys were having fun, and obviously that made it a ton of fun for us.
That's so cool.
So with the Kickstarter, when does it ends? Saturday, is that right?
Yeah, Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Central Time.
Man,
this is going to be
a heck of a
where
week for
it's going to go, because every Kickstarter that I have either followed or backed or both, there is always a huge spike right at the end. And
it's going to be interesting to see. I'm certainly interested to see where this thing goes. We just unlocked, like right before we jumped on this call, we just unlocked the hardcover book. So we just got it unlocked just a few minutes.
Patty's book. Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, Brian and Patty's book. And it's gonna be so nice, you guys.
I was
gonna say they do good work. So
they do really good work, and we've actually got more artwork that we're going to be revealing, as part of our final push here in the next several days. So we've got lots of cool artwork coming, and then artwork that's going to be completed. Won't be complete till after the Kickstarter ends, but I love art and packaging art. So we're gonna fill that book up with lots of cool shit for sure.
Nice.
So for the next year,
like there's a stand that's going to be available for it. The book, which you just mentioned.
Yep, we got the flight stand, and then of course we unlocked the retro figure, which was just another thing, talking about collaborations and trying to be community minded and kind of get everybody into the, you guys mentioned at the beginning of the call that, feeling like the community can be a little bit divisive, like different teams of collectors and things. And one of the fun things about this is trying to just be, obviously you can't please everyone, but I was like, I'm going to try and we're going to see how it goes. Right. So we've got the O-ring, because I've got friends who only collect O-rings. I've got friends that only collect, 4-inch modern Joes. I've got friends that are only collecting at this point classified.
Yeah.
And then I've got friends like me who have, some of all of it. So.
Yeah. I was not an early supporter of the 6-inch line, that's for sure, but I've definitely been swayed, and they finally made my favorite figure. So
who's that?
The Alley Viper.
Yeah, that's gonna be a killer figure for sure.
Yeah, he's never gonna have one. He's never gonna be able to own one to find it. But
one of my favorite characters, and they made Major Blood. So I'm like, okay, all right, I got to break down, and I got to get one now. So I got Major Blood was one of my first.
I'm just excited because my top 10 wish list for the classified line already, Lady J and Spirit have happened. The half my list was bullshit. That's not going to happen. Come on, nobody's going to make classified Super Trooper. Come on, that's ridiculous.
I don't know, man. You might. But, I think I have a feeling. I have a feeling that
hey, if Tiger Force Outback can happen, Super Trooper can happen too.
I think we're gonna get some. I don't know anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get some deep cuts from Lenny and over there, because those guys are awesome. They're doing doing such a great job.
I need a classified Serpentor. That's all if he was the last figure released in the classified, I'd be over the moon.
I feel like they gotta do it. They've got to do. I feel like at some point they're gonna have to do. They've got to do Serpentor. And like the Outback's super cool. I've been getting some of my favorites too, because Storm Shadow's my guy, and Spirit's my other, one of my favorite figures. So when they just put that one out, showed that one, it's a really good looking figure. I'm hoping to get. I really want to get. We're gonna have to get some Crimson Guards at some point, right, guys?
The rumor list for next year has the Crimson Twins. Yes. Stalker, Dusty, Zorana, and the Crimson Guard.
Yeah. I don't think that's a rumor list. I think that's
is that confirmed at this point?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's the confirmed, unconfirmed rumor list. That What's on Joe Mine put out. God, I don't know, a couple months ago. But I'm happy about Zorana, but I'm annoyed because I'm a big believer you shouldn't have Zorana without Xandar. And I'm like, he really is the forgotten Dreadnought. His fucking file card says that everybody forgets he's there. And even the classified line is forgotten about Xandar.
So far, calm down, calm your tits. It might be later.
With Crimson Guard and Crimson Twins coming out down the road, and then them hitting Spirit, that pretty much like they've pretty much done everything on my top, like my top. And then Stalker, yeah. So that kind of rounds out like, who are the 5-6 characters like that would be at the top of my list? They're like they're checked them all off. So
I need a Torpedo and I need a Night Viper, and then I'll be happy.
Yeah,
I would like a Jungle Viper.
I'm hoping for Hawk. There was a time when I would have said just the idea of a classified Rip It is the most ridiculous thing in the world. And then we got a modern one in the retro line. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They did a new Rip It. I am the only fan that character has. And I'm like, they made this for me. Hasbro made this for me. They didn't know it. They made this for me. So now I'm like, so a classified his tank driver is a very real possibility.
Yeah, I think so.
All they have to do is paint it blue, and I might actually. All right. So you're right. Super Trooper. Who knows? Maybe, possibly. But
and then I think one of the other questions is, where will you go from here? Are you going to do you have plans to do further vehicles in the future?
So we definitely have plans to do more product in the future. So we're going to stay focused. Like I said, we're going to stay focused on fulfilling this Kickstarter, but we do have plans. There will certainly be more figures to come, and we will be evaluating viability of everything based on where we end up on the Kickstarter. So, things that I was more conservative about, I think on the onset of this, based on the fan response, that kind of puts us in a really fun position to sort of reevaluate what the possibilities can be. So it's a fun, exciting thing when we start to really look at what's next.
Awesome. And any hints you can throw out just for our show?
Yeah, I think I'd love to give you some good hints, but we haven't confirmed our next step for what might come out. So I'd hate to put out like, oh, he said this is what's going to be, and then it not come to fruition. So
no pressure. I just know that for the next year, when your family can't find you, they're going to be able to blame the Roboskull for it. You're going to be unavailable for holidays. They're going to be like, that damn skull vehicle and his success. My God. This is you. This thing is crazy. Like, I don't like, you must have to pinch yourself just thinking, is this real? Right? And now the end of the Kickstarter is in sight. Yeah, you must be crawling out of your skin. Like, this must just be crazy.
It is a bit surreal, honestly, because we launched this, and I'm a fan. That's what drew me to this, to do this, is because I'm a fan. And I mean, I have business experience in product development and that kind of thing, but nothing even close to this arena. And then so knowing how to, feeling like I could pull together and make a real awesome thing, I reached out to the people in the industry that I thought could be the best partners and make the best products and be the best collaborators for the endeavor. And it's been wonderful because we continue to pull in the coolest, most talented people to work with us on this stuff. So yeah, it is a bit surreal because it's every bit as fun as I'd hoped it would be, and just an opportunity to talk to and work with people that I find inspiring, right? And have found inspiring for many years as a collector and as a fan. So it's it's all upside.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to this. If everything goes smoothly, delivery date is about when, do you think?
May. So we're looking at, which is, I understand is a ways out, because we're going to end this this month, and then that's about, that's 18 months from the completion of the Kickstarter. And one of the things with that date was talking to the factory, making sure that, like, hey, I do not want to give a date that we cannot achieve.
Right.
And obviously, with what's going on right now with global supply chain and just everything in the world, there are no guarantees on,
yeah, absolutely,
of any manner.
That's why I said that's why I'm like, I'm not phrasing it as when is your drop dead date. It's like, if everything goes the way you would like it to go.
Well, I think it's more than that. I really didn't want to have a date that was like, if everything goes perfectly, then this is the date it's going to be, because things never do go perfectly.
No, absolutely.
So that's why I asked for a date that was realistic and that I could, really hold to. I really want to be, it's an important piece of what we're doing here, is I want to be able to fulfill the Kickstarter on the date that we said we were going to fulfill on. And I think we're going to do that. That's I believe that we're going to do that. And the flip side of it is one of the things that I don't have complete control over, right? Like, right. I can make sure that the designs are awesome. I can make sure that they're engineered. I can make sure they're quality, because we won't ship until everything is perfect. But that variable of timing is something that there's, now more than ever can be unpredictable. But I feel really good about the timeline we put out there. Feel really good about it.
Excellent. No, that's fantastic. And once it's in hand, we want you back on the show for a reveal. It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah, we would definitely want you back on the show once this thing hits, to just like talk about it once again.
You got it. You ask, I'll be on. This has been fun.
Good. So we can geek out about it with it in our hands instead of right now.
Yes.
So in that 18 months, that just seems so reasonable to me. Because like you said, you can't predict everything. There's going to be hit.
Oh, look at that thing.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
Like,
you know what I'm going to do? I'll do this for you guys quick, because I've got my cool Skeletron background here. But why don't I take that off real quick, and then maybe I give you a better view of this guy real quick.
The whole thing instead of the half of the. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay.
Cool,
there's my actual background. So. Okay.
It looks like a polyhedral dice. Holy shit!
God, look at that thing. It's a beast.
It's glorious.
It really is gorgeous, guys. I'm not gonna make. Whoop! There's my chin gun just went off.
That's all right. The prototype of the Red Skull that Bob Brackett has is missing the same. Yeah, the prototype Bob Brackett has, the original, was missing the same chin gun. So, that is. Oh my God! Look at that.
Oh my God! It is beautiful.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
And some of the things. So there's awesome. Nice ratcheting on this too. So the way it clicks and stuff, and this will have a click to close and open. And then here, if you can you hear this?
Yes.
That ratcheting effect.
Oh, sweet.
You get a really nice, solid, a play effect. We want it to have like really, lock in positions, and you get that with the with these landing talons here too. They snap into position, so you can see they'll snap right in.
Nice.
Oh God, that's so cool. So that's so cool.
It just gives you in hand. It gives you a really good, it gives you a really good. Tactile.
You have no idea how jealous I am right now, not having that in my hand to play with.
You're holding that thing up, and again, I get the picture of the scale, because I realize the size of that skull is the size of an actual human skull.
Yeah, pretty close.
It's a little smaller, I think.
Just a little.
It's like a kid's skull.
Though. That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's a nice sized guy. Yeah, it definitely is.
Dude, I love the articulated jaw. I'll be able to make it say, "You're too late, Captain Rogers."
And here's how the seat. We haven't shown this exactly how this comes out, I don't think.
Oh no! Okay. Oh, sweet.
Nice.
So the 4-inch guys come out. I'm gonna set these guys down. I'm gonna set this Roboskull back.
Good. I like that they sit back to back, like in the First Order TIE Fighters and Force Awakens. So you got
Yeah,
Finn and Poe facing. Yeah, that's cool.
And what I really like, one of the things I really like about this is the fact that what you do is you pull the seat out and then you put the guys in so you can get their handles on the handlebars and get them positioned all really nicely.
That's
I've got bigger, I always struggle with that on the vehicles, right? I'm trying to like dig in there and get my guy kind of situated in the vehicle. Yeah. So with this seat,
the steering wheel will not stay in the van if the guy is in there and you're trying to get Clutch's hands on the van.
So so these guys, you can just get them, nicely into position and then drop them into the cockpit.
Nice.
Oh, cool. I love it.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I'm so looking forward to this. It's gonna be amazing to get this thing in hand. So
Thanks,
yes,
guys,
Kickstarter is Saturday night. So if you haven't backed this yet, if you are waiting to back this, this is the time to do it. If you look in the show notes right now, there is a link to the Kickstarter. There will be a link to the Facebook page, to the Instagram page, and to the we'll drop the link in for the Hodor to get you the look at the Skeletron figure as well. So be sure to check out the show notes and back this, because if you miss out on this, you will regret it.
Yeah, and if you are waiting on it, what are you waiting for? Just back it already. Get your Roboskull Mark II.
Well, it'd be awesome for people to back it now, because we would love to get that Skeletron unlocked, both the 4-inch and the 6-inch. And I think for, not that I want to do a hard sell on anybody, because I want the product to speak for itself, and it is going to be an amazing product. I mean,
I think we'll do the hard sell for you on that one. No pressure from you.
But the one thing,
go back it, people. This thing's fucking amazing.
People. Yeah, we need it. Come on, back it, back it. We need I need a Skeletron. Come on now. It's in their logo. I need a toy of it.
The one thing I will say that people might want to consider is that we are offering a really aggressive price. I know it's not inexpensive. I know it's an expensive investment to get a
It's
Roboskull,
worth it.
But we came in at a very aggressive price point, and although we haven't sorted out any distribution once the Kickstarter is fulfilled, I expect that we'll be able to do that, and that we hope to be able to offer it. It won't be at the same price points that we're offering on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was going to mention, is if you want it for a decent price, you definitely need to back the Kickstarter, because as with any Kickstarter that I have backed or watched, when it does become available, it's going to be at a higher price point. And that's just, right. I mean, that's how the world works.
Well, and yeah, if you're going to be offering it through traditional online retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, they're going to have to charge more. And if they sell out, if these retailers sell out online, like pre-orders and whatever, and you have to go to the secondary market, you're gonna end up paying for one Roboskull Mark II what you would have paid if you'd back to get 2 of the damn things or something from the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not going to be like this. This is going to be a highly desired toy after release.
That's why I'm saying, if you don't back this, you are gonna regret it. Do it now.
Well, I hope people are excited, and I hope there are a lot of people that haven't thrown in yet. So that would be great, because that means that
I'm just confused if there's people that haven't. What
I don't know that it's necessarily that people that haven't backed it. They're waiting to see what the stretch goals are before they back it more. Because I got to tell you this.
That's true.
You mean for a second one, so I can
up their donation?
Yeah. I can't decide, do I want a special edition or do I want a regular one? Well, I kind of want both.
I think you need both. I mean, that's right. you're gonna regret it if you don't have both. I mean,
exactly. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think that I think the best combo is you need to get the special edition for your ace pilot in the lead position, and then you have at least 2 more Mark IIs that flank it on the sides, right?
There you go, for wingman.
You need
absolutely. You need
that's the one.
These things. I'm looking forward to seeing pictures of the people that have backed it for like 4 or 5, and they'll do like a fleet picture of those sitting on the deck of the flag or hanging from their ceiling in their collector's room. I'm looking forward to seeing pictures like that.
Oh, for sure. No, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna love it.
And I think
I guess I'll add, I will also add that if the Roboskull isn't something that that you're, for whatever reason, you're going to back right now, we have a lot of cool stuff that isn't a Roboskull, right? We've got a retro O-ring figure that's super cool from Grindstone Toys. Like it's really a fun figure. We've got 4-inch figures, 4-inch Wolf Troopers that are going to be super awesome. And then we've got the 6-inch Wolf Trooper too. And then, the pilot character kits, so you can make different characters with the Wolf Trooper. So there's really, from a figure standpoint, there's something for everyone, just for the figures that we're offering in the Kickstarter too.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we talked about earlier was we're going to try and make the show kind of shorter, just so people would watch it, because what JD and I are trying to do is
we failed.
Yeah, I think we did. So we tried.
I told you.
How are we doing on time, guys? What do we got here? Yeah.
I told you we try to keep it to 1 hour. Backfires every single time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, I like talking about Roboskull, so I can keep going all day. So yeah, you're gonna have to pull the plug on me to get me off the show, right? So appreciate your time, guys. Thank you.
Ben, just out of curiosity, what's on your hat? Is that the Hogwarts logo?
This is actually it's kind of a sports ball logo for my other company. So it's
okay, because I saw the H and the flags, and I'm like, is that? Yeah. I'm like, no, I don't think it's Hogwarts. I was just curious.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So trying to keep it short, just so people watch the show, because our big thing is to get people in the community to help back projects like this.
Yes.
We did that with Marauder, and again, thank you for Marauder John for being on the show. I think we're the only ones that were able to get him on the show for the Vietnam Kickstarter. This community, it's been my philosophy that to get toys in really cool toys, new toys in a 4-inch scale, crowdfunding is the only way to go.
You've been saying that for years.
I have,
and it's coming true more often
than not
as time goes on. Then because you had that inclination years ago when like Eagle Force was being kickstarted.
Yeah.
And now look how far we've come and how few 18th scale products are out there now. So dude, you were like foretelling the future.
So if you want more stuff like this, it's up to you to back stuff like this. It's you've got to be a shareholder, a stakeholder in this. Yes, it seems expensive, but keep in mind these guys are making this from scratch. They've got to do all the tooling. You're buying into just not a product, you're buying into an idea. And to get more stuff like this in the future, we've got to get this stuff out. And to do that, we've got to back these things. I mean, yes, this is coming to fruition because it's already funded, but man, it is up to you guys to back this stuff. And
he had to get the copyright in the first place. There's a lot that goes into this stuff.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot behind the scenes that goes on for this. And we thank you, Ben, for being on the show.
Yeah, Ben, thank you.
Hey.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Thanks.
And thank you. Shout out to all the backers out there, all the Roboskullers, including you two guys who have supported us. We appreciate it so much. So thank you guys.
Absolutely.
Happy to.
We will have Ben back on
later.
the show once JD and I have a product in hand. So we're looking forward to that. And once again, in the show notes, there's a link to the Kickstarter, which is Saturday. There's a link to the Facebook page. Follow them on Facebook, and the link to the Hodor to go take a look at the Skeletron figure. So I think that's about it for this episode of General Geekery. As always, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below. We do try and get back to everybody's comments. And thanks for watching.